Cenjen župan, gospod Zoran Janković, drage dame, spoštovani gospodje, lepo pozdravljeni in dobrodošli na otvoritvi centra Global Shapers Community Ljubljana. Global Shapers Community je skupnost, ki deluje pod okriljem World Economic Foruma, sestavlja pa jo mreža dinamičnih, podjetniških in družbeno angažiranih mladih med 20 in 30 letom starosti. Skupnost je bila ustanovljena leta 2011 in od takrat se je mreži pridružilo 4500 mladih širom po svetu, ki delujejo v približno 400 centrih. Naša prestolnica je z današnjim dnem bogatejša za svoj center ali hub, s katerim se mladim odpira obilo priložnosti, da se povežejo z ostalimi centri širom sveta in tudi ostalimi skupnostmi, ki delujejo pod okriljem World Economic Foruma. Namen Global Shapers Community-ja je tudi, da je mreženje, prenašanje znanja, navezovanje novih stikov, grajenje mreženja, ohranjanje stikov, ki so ključni gradniki, po katerih je Global Shapers Community tudi izstopa. Skupna želja vseh, ki se pridružijo skupnosti, pa je, da svojo energijo, svoje navdušenje usmerijo v boljši in prepoznaven svet. Global Shapers Community mladim omogoča, da prispevajo lokalni skupnosti ter pomagajo oblikovati globalno prihodnost. Ob tej priložnosti bi na oder povabila Jana Pinteriča, ustanovnega kuratorja Global Shapers Community Ljubljana, da spregovori nekaj besed. Prosim.
Ja, lepo pozdravljeni. Jaz sem pripravljen tak kratek uvod. Stara finta, ne? Malo se hecam. Najprej mogoče eno tako toplo besedo za Tila, ki ima danes malo nesrečen dan. Smo imeli dva gosta. One is Mark Turrell, which is here. In druga je gruzijska ministrica, ki je potrdila prisotnost, prav zaradi tega tudi gospodarskega foruma, pa je potem čez, mislim, da je 2 tedna pred tem dogodkom je rekla, da žal ne more, zato ker zdaj v okviru nekega svojega podjetja, ki ni več, ona ni več ministrica, pa je v okviru svojega podjetja podpisala eno pogodbo, pa je rekla, da bi rada šla s temi partnerji, ne vem kam, v Kazahstan. Pa je Til toliko prepričeval, da je potem rekla, v redu, pa bom prišla. Ampak zdaj se je žal zgodilo, da je že 2 dni na letališču v Istanbulu čaka, ki je tak sneg. Tako da Til je zelo, Til ima tako zelo en tak nesrečen dan, se kar dosti sekiral, ampak upam, da bo bolj štilne. Tako da bomo izkoristili priložnost, pa upam, da bo prišla še kdaj, da bo naslednjič jo gostili. Tokrat žal ni utegnila zaradi tega bilnega sneženja. Jaz bom zelo kratek, bom samo povedal okvir tega, kaj v bistvu je Global Shapers Community, v okviru česa je, zato, ker me veliko ljudi spraševali, da si bojo sploh predstavljali. V bistvu World Economic Forum verjetno vsi poznate po tem, bom rekel, kar odmevnem dogodku v Davosu, ki vsako leto pritegne voditelje iz celega sveta, iz sveta politike, gospodarstva in znanosti in drugih družbenih področij. Ravno pred kratkim je bil zopet odmeven kot vedno, no, ampak World Economic Forum pa seveda ne dela samo tega. Ustanovil ga je profesor Schwab leta 1971. Od takrat je v bistvu ta World Economic Forum kar, bom rekel, zrastel. Oni organizirajo, kot sem rekel, ta Davos konferenco plus nekaj drugih iniciativ. V Ženevi imajo sedež, ki je v bistvu, bom rekel, kar iz tega nastala ena velika neprofitna organizacija. Mislim, da njihov prihodek je tam okoli 300 milijonov evrov letno, zaposlujejo čez 200 ljudi, tudi nekatera ključna pogajanja za mir na vzhodu in tako naprej so se zgodila tam v Ženevi. No in v zadnjih letih so začeli se posvečati predvsem mlajši generaciji. Tudi oni so videli, da je za mlajšo generacijo treba poskrbeti oziroma je treba pomagati, da se razvija, da razvija vrednote, ki so pomembne za to, da bomo živeli v prihodnosti v nekem svetu, v katerem si vsi želimo. Tako so najprej ustanovili eno skupino Young Global Leaders, ki je imela zelo velik, bom rekel, uspeh. Oni so bili s tem zelo zadovoljni. Potem pa je v letu 2011 so prišli na idejo, da bi ustanovili še novo organizacijo, ki znotraj Global Foruma, ki se imenuje Global Shapers Community. Global Shapers je namenjeno mladim med 20 in 30 let, ki se združujejo lokalno z namenom, da naredijo nek družbeno relevanten projekt. Projekt, ki bo pomagal družbi, projekt, ki bo družbeno koristen in na ta način vplivajo na lokalno okolje, hkrati pa se globalno povezujejo. Danes je to network nekih 4500, mislim, da mladih ljudi. Kot seveda vse iniciative okoli World Economic Foruma je tudi ta zelo omejena, želijo pritegniti res največje talente, tako da so tudi nam nekako sugerirali, da naredimo majhno organizacijo, da začnemo z malo posamezniki, handpicked individuals, ki potem počasi razširjamo. Tako da tukaj imamo danes, lahko pozdravimo prvo generacijo oziroma prve člane tega networka mladega, ki bodo potem tudi v bistvu nadaljevali s tem delom in upamo, da bomo razvili kakšen zanimiv projekt skupaj. No in v okviru tega gospodarskega foruma so potem iz Ženeve kontaktirali mene, če bi jim pomagal v Ljubljani to narediti. Tako da v bistvu iz tega je nastala neka iniciativa za ljubljanski hub. Jaz sem bil potem 2 leti nazaj tam, to je bilo 4 ali 5 dnevni dogodek, se ne spomnim točno, kjer smo šli čez vse procese, kjer smo pogledali, kaj dela Global Forum, kje so, kakšne so cilji, kakšne so vrednote in vse skupaj, tako da smo potem lahko zastavili neke prve aktivnosti, ki se bodo zdaj začele odvijati. Zakaj pa mene to pritegnilo, je pa v bistvu ena zgodba, ki mislim, da je zelo koristna za mlade, še posebej v Sloveniji, kjer mogoče te podjetniške kulture manjka zaradi specifičnega razvoja, ker ni take tradicije. In sicer jaz mislim, da prvo, kar taki projekti razvijajo, je, da učijo mlade ljudi biti podjeten. Skozi projekte, družbeno koristne, se mladi učijo biti podjetni. Zdaj, kaj to pomeni podjetni? Podjetni za mene pomeni podjetnik, ampak pomeni biti koristen znotraj podjetja, biti koristen znotraj nekega projekta, biti iniciativen in biti koristen je tudi ena izmed temeljnih človekovih potreb. Tako da to je bila v bistvu tista prva stvar, ki me je pritegnila. Druga stvar, ki me je pritegnila, je seveda to, da osebno verjamem, da je treba biti v življenju nekako giving oriented, se pravi poskušati dajati, kajti če daješ, boš tudi prejel. Recimo v Sloveniji stopnja brezposelnih med mladimi dokaj visoka, ampak kaj se dogaja? 90% mladih čaka na neko priložnost za zaposlitev. Ampak jaz vem recimo iz mojega primera, ko imam podjetja, če bi prišel nek mlad človek do mene, pa bi mi povedal, da mi želi pomagati, da bom tudi jaz hitreje prišel do cilja, bi verjetno se takoj dogovorila. Se pravi, naučiti se dajati, da lahko prejemaš. Se pravi, kako jaz lahko družbi, kako jaz lahko podjetju, kako lahko jaz pomagam svoje prisotnosti, svoje znanjem ali pa svojim mindsetom predvsem, mogoče nimam znanja, mogoče nimam česa drugega, ker verjetno najpomembnejše je mindset, hitrost učenja, ampak ta hitrost učenja je odvisna tudi tega, koliko se to želim. Verjetno bo župan vedel več povedati iz svojega prejšnjega dela, ki je imel veliko pravka z veliko ljudmi, pa veliko mladimi, kako je v bistvu tudi to tam potekalo, ker mislim, da je bila tudi to podjetje, ki je vodil, mislim, da je eno izmed, bom rekel, najhitreje rastočih ali pa, bom rekel, uspešnih v Sloveniji. In tretja stvar, kar me je pritegnilo, je to, da mladim omogoča dostop do nekega mednarodnega networka, kar je zelo pomembno. Jaz sem zdaj 3 dni nazaj sem prišel iz Amerike in me je ena zgodba še posebej fascinirala in sicer zintrigirala. To je bilo pa to, da sem se srečal z enim slovenskim podjetnikom, ki je zdaj dobil letos največjo investicijo v San Franciscu, med 20 in 30 milijonov za startup in so ugotovila eno zanimivo stvar in sicer mi smo leta 2008 organizirali Edge konferenco, to je bila konferenca, smo pozvali pa par tujcev, pa nekaj mladih in on je na to konferenco prišel kot študent, tisti dan je diplomiral In tisti dan je spoznal nekega človeka iz Avstrije, ki smo ga mi tudi povabili na event, in Matej Holzman, ki je kasneje postal v Ameriki direktor za BlackBerry za ameriški trg, potem je postal neke start-upe. In on sta ostala v stiku tistega dneva in je bil on v resnici ključen človek, da ga je predstavil investitorjem, ki so mu dali 25 milijonov pol. Tako da v bistvu je ful zanimivo, koliko je svet majhen, pa koliko so te vezi lahko pomembne pa zanimive. In je to še v bistvu en tak dodaten motivator, ki me v bistvu že vseh teh 10 let, odkar delam to združenje, nekako motivira pozitivne ljudi povezovati, da v bistvu nekaj iz tega lahko potem tudi mogoče kakšen benefit poslovni ali kakršenkoli drugačen. Še posebej v teh časih mogoče slovensko gospodarstvo mogoče ima slabše dela, kakor kakšno tuje. V Ameriki smo se glih pogovarjali, zdaj sem v bistvu obdobje največje rasti, cene nepremičnin rastejo vsak dan, največje podjetje na svetu z največjo kapitalizacijo, kot je Apple, počuje prihodke za 50% na leto, ne? In je to v bistvu tako po moje v zadnjih 20 letih ena izmed največjih rasti, ne, ameriškega gospodarstva. In mislim, da to povezovanje je ključno. Tako da tukaj z moje strani, obenem bi se še zahvalil županu, ki nas je obiskal. Mislim, da je to zelo pomembno, da tudi imamo takega župana, ki podpira mlade in da lahko na nek način računamo, da bomo morda, če bo karkoli potrebno, da boste tudi prejeli kakšno podporo iz te strani. Tako da zaenkrat pa lepo dobrodošli vsi skupaj in hvala lepa.
Jan, najlepša hvala. Vse se sliši zelo krasno in dejansko Global Shaperji rešujejo nekatere najbolj pereče probleme na lokalnih skupnostih in ena izmed največjih prednosti centrov je, da temeljijo na načelih inkluzivnosti, sodelovanja in skupnega sprejemanja odločitev. In ob otvoritvi Ljubljanskega centra, kot smo že slišali, smo zelo veseli, da je z nami danes tudi župan mestne občine Ljubljana, gospod Zoran Janković, ki ga toplo vabim k besedi.
Dober večer, jaz ne bom probal z očali pa z govori, ker to jemljem tam, da so starejši prisotni. Niti ne vem, kako naj vas nagovorim, ne rečem gospe in gospodje, pa bi malo čuden, ne rečem dober večer, mladi, perspektivni, tisti, ki boste reševali državo. In za začetek mi je tako lepo, ko mi je Jan rekel zdaj, sem rekel za svoja leta, imaš res dobro razmišljanje, prav nisem več tako mlad, pa res prav 38 ni več tako mlad. Ampak na to povabilo sem prišel z veseljem, pri čemer pa ne vem, kaj naj vam danes tu sporočim. Ali vam povem, da sem po tej želji, po uspehu še vedno vaša generacija, kajti še danes vsak dan pridem z veseljem na dopust na delovno mesto. To je meni dopust, užitek. In če najdeš sanjsko službo, ker si vsak dan z veseljem tam, z vsemi problemi, ki so, potem se zgodi to kot meni, da mi vsakih 10 let se jih treba obrne. In vem, da pač moj čas odhaja, ker enostavno pogledam se vsake dolgo časa osebno, ne vidim, da imam 62 let, da sem že dedek 3. In ali sodim sploh med vami? Na začetku, ko smo govorili o mreženju, sem začel razmišljati, da moram zdaj tako jutri napisati prijavo KPK-ju, da sem vas lobiral, ker vi ste vsi moji volivci, potencialni, ali bom še kandidiral, ne bom kandidiral niti ni bistvo, ampak v principu danes je to sporočilo. Kaj je vaša zahteva, kaj vi gledate in jaz se tu strinjam z uvodom, ko sem jaz diplomiral, je bil svet mi vas odprt, lahko sem si izbiral službo. Takrat sem delal to, kar delajo tudi mladi, vzel sem tam štipendijo in tisto prakso, ker so več denarja dali. Treba je dobiti hišo narediti, imel sem že familijo, en otrok, drugi na poti in iščeš materialno sigurnost. To je prva faza. Kmalu potem pride, da rečeš, kaj pa potrebuješ, rabiš daljši avto, rabiš večji avto, rabiš 3 avtomobile, rabiš jahto, rabiš golf in v bistvu sam sabo razčistiš. Kaj je tvoje poslanstvo? Ali si pripravljen delati tako, da za tabo nekaj ostane? Ali si pripravljen spoštovati socialni kapital? Brez tega ni uspeha. V Mercatorju je bilo na prvem mestu kupec, kralj. Pa če je kralj zadovoljen, ne, mora biti sodelavec zadovoljen. Na zadnjem mestu so bili delničarji. Ko sem jaz to razlagal na skupščinah, ne, so me malo čudno gledali, češ ne, se mi te pa lahko menjamo. Ja, menjite me, ste me menjali. In kaj pol? Hudo. Zgubiš svoj dnevni ritem. Kaj pa zdaj? Ker naenkrat preveč časa, začneš fajn trenirati, ne telovaditi po golcu dvakrat dnevno, še danes bi lahko z vami igral nogomet ali pa ne vem, tenis, pa vedno bom probal zmagati, ampak 5 ur spiš, nekaj bereš, ne, in kar gledaš 10-12 ur, kaj pa zdaj? In iščeš motiv. In kdor najde to v sebi, da je ustvarjalec, da je kreator, da je lider, da je sposoben voditi ali oddelek, ali podjetje, ali mesto, ali državo, je velika danost. Potem pridejo pa težave. Udarci z leve, udarci z desne, padeš enkrat, padeš drugič, misliš, da si se svet podrl, pa na koncu ugotoviš samo eno zadevo. Danes, ko bom prišel domov, pred spanjem si perem zobe. A se lahko gledamo gledalo, ali moram mižati. In če pridete, dekleta, ko date do ličila, vi ste zobno pasto, ne, pa zobno ščetko, ne, a se lahko pogledaš v gledalo. A si lahko rečeš sam sebi, dragi moj, danes je bil pa dober dan. A lahko to rečeš potem, ko dobiš hišno preiskavo policije. Dragi moj, danes je bil dober dan. Pa ni enostavno, ampak potem prideš do sebe pa rečeš, da, vse v tej državi je možno, pa država je krasna. Vprašanje je zdaj, če smo državljani tako dobri, ali pa bom rekel, če tisti, ki vodimo državo, ali pa ki smo vodili državo, ali pa vodili mesto, če smo pravi. Jaz bom zelo direktno rekel, da zadnjih 10 let imamo krizo vodenja. Krizo vodenja v največjih sistemih v državi, pa ne, da bi bili ljudje pokvarjeni ali pa kriminalci. Mislim, da se sploh preveč o tem piše. Jaz še enkrat trdim, jaz sem imel 3 zadeve na sodišču, zdaj imam še 2. Tudi te 2 boste padle. Sam polno vprašal medije, ali ker imam zdaj 1,5 metra klipinga negativnega, ne rabe 1 metra pozitivnega, vsaj 30 cm. Da je nekaj ravnoteža, da rečemo, evo, vrnite mi tisto, kar ste mi delali. Ampak pogledati, kaj je zdaj ključen problem v naši državi, in tu morate vi nastopiti. Kaj je ključen problem Evrope? Pri nas je problem, da se nihče ne upa več nič odločiti. Zakaj je Ljubljana toliko uspešna? Ker imajo moji sodelavci, ki so izjemni, zaslombo. Moja naloga kot prvega človeka je, če nekoga zberem, če potrdim njegov program, moram za njem stati. In njega ne more nihče menjati drugi. V tem je catch. Nekdo je rekel, ne, da imamo 3 faze v mestni občini, prav veliko delam, ampak nam je lepo. Ne. Težko nam je, ne, ali nam je lepo. Ne. Pa je pa rekel, težko nam je, ker moramo, ne. Zdaj ima pa novo verzijo, prav težko nam je, ker moramo, ker nam je lepo. Ne. In smisel je, ali lahko to skupino, ki skupaj prepričaš v nek cilj, kaj ti sam ne moš nič narediti. Če nimaš v bistvu cele zaslombe, moraš pa biti pa prvi. Moj kolega sedaj, član uprave Mercatorja, je imel krasne anekdote. Kako je lepo biti prvi, ne. Ma kako je lepo biti drugi, ko je kaj narobe. In to so dejstva. Tu morate spet, da si izpostavite. Ta kriza vodenja, da če nič ne naredim nobene napake, ni sam napačno, nevarno je. Ker se vse skupaj ustavi. Ker za zmisliti je razlog, zakaj kaj ne moš narediti, na tle smo pa vrhunski, za vsako stvar imamo lahko 5 razlogov. Evropa je nedvomno v krizi, cel svet. Jaz sem prepričan, da do konca junija, to že razlagam 2 meseca, bosta Putin pa Merklova podpisala dogovor o prijateljstvu, ne, na tem vzhodno Evrope. Ker jih silijo gospodarske tokovi v to. Konec koncev, ne, lepo razlagati o demokraciji, potem, ker imaš si trebuh. Težko je razložiti umu, ker nima kaj za jesti, da je država demokratična, pa da je vse lepo. Ne. Tudi napovedujem, da bo Grčija uspela dobiti velik diskont, jaz pravim celo 50 na svoje kredite. Zdaj sam problem, kako bo to zapakirali. Ali bo to vojna škodnina, ali bo to, ker so plačevali obrestno mero 10, mi v Sloveniji 5, Nemci 1% na istih projektih. In se bojo pojavila ravno ta zgodba iz Amerike, ne visoka gospodarska rast in je treba na ta vlak stopiti. Mi imamo dobri izvoznike, nam se zdaj popravlja generacija direktorjev tisto, ki je Janša uničil vehementno leta 2006, 2007, pa če kdo misli, lahko gre govoriti po imenih. In prihaja spet ta generacija, ki ima znanje in treba jim dati možnost in pogum za njih stopiti. Jaz ne razumem tega, da če naše podjetje, ki je v javni lasti, da za neko košarko, ne vem, 100.000 evrov, dobimo celo stran v časopisu. A se sprašujemo samo, da je to denar stran vržen, ga je domov odnesel, ali gledamo, kaj je s tem naredil tudi družbeno koristno, ko otroci imajo svoje idole. Zaradi svojih idolov gre v ta šport, niso na cesti, se pravi, ne rabimo zdravljenja. Zakaj ne bi tudi na tem področju, gospodarstvo je še vedno moja bolezen, imeli Prevce, imeli Tine Maze? Zakaj nimamo recimo več podjetij kot je Celtra, ki bi naredila iz ene delavnice fenomenalni uspeh v Bostonu? In vi boste morali priti s svojimi zahtevami. Če pričakujete, da bomo moja generacija revolucionarji, se zelo mote. Enostavno se zavedamo, tudi po tej želji, da bi kaj spreminjali. Jaz sem imel 12, tako voljo, Vedel sem, kaj in kako. Pa nič nisem žalosten, Nekdo je pač takrat bil v poziciji, da v peskovniku, ko smo imeli vsi plastični lopatko, on je imel kramp železa, in je malo šel na levo, malo na desno, preračunaval je, kaj je boljš za njega in pripeljali smo tam, kar smo pripeljali. Ampak brez spremembe na ekonomskem področju, brez poguma, in vam sodi pogum. Tudi to druženje, ki ga imate po celem svetu, če kdo misli, da se lahko vse zmeni čez tisti stroj, ki ga jaz ne uporabljam, kako se mu reče, ki ga še vedno nimam, se moti. Mi smo bili v mojem času v Mercatorju tretji v Evropi, ki smo imeli prodajo po internetu. Tretji v Evropi. Pa ko sem govoril na tej marketing konferenci v Barceloni, se rekel, res je, tretji so v Evropi, boljši za Koduni, ker smo cenejši, ker prepeljemo celo noč. Pa kaj ena druga stvar je, jaz še vedno to ne verjamem. Jaz hočem druženje. Jaz hočem, da vidim oči, da stojim, pa rečem, tale banana, ali pa ta solata, pa danes jutri sem jaz obral, pa niso zraven. In vi ste zdaj prišli do te ideje, druženje medčloveško, face to face, spoznati se, zaupati si, in iz tega rade včasih tudi projekti ali pa rade zmage, ki jih niti ne računaš. Ni vse načrtovano, ti imaš neko pot, ampak ko ti pride neki strani, izkoristi to priložnost. Jaz vam želim veliko druženja. Predvsem spoštujte une, ki so dobri, ki zmagujo. Ne boste ljubosumni, da rečete, on ima pa strica, sigurno župan mu stoji za hrbtom, ali teta, ali kaj, ne vem, vse tak. Dobar je, ampak jaz bom boljši. Zgubil sem meč, evo roka, 6-4, treniral bom še malo več, pa bom zmagal. Dokler imaš ta pristop, dokler greš do tega, da priznaš, da imaš v sebi egoizem, ker hočeš sebi dobro, je to pravilno o pogoju, da to slediš tudi svojim sodelavcem, svojim partnerjem, s tistimi, ki delaš. Pogum, vizija, stopati po svoji poti, pa vedno se vprašajte, ali se zvečer lahko pogledamo gledalo, kako bi bilo meni, če bi sedel na drugi strani mize. O meni marsikaj govorijo, verjetno ste veliko slišali, tudi jaz sem slišal marsikaj o meni, ampak ne boste nikogar našli, ne v Sloveniji, ne v tem svetu, po dveh elementih, da mi je dokaj dal in drugič, da nisem držal svoje besede. In zato tako mirno živim in zato me žene tudi uspeh naprej. Ne rabim se nobenemu klanjati, velikrat sem dobil po ušesih, velikrat je bilo hudo, žrtve so, ampak na koncu ostane za tabo nekaj, ki bo mnogi uporabili kot tisto, kar je bilo dobro temu mestu. Uživajte. Jaz bom zaključil s tem, da rečem, da so moji sodelavci dobili v zadnjih 2 letih nekaj največjih evropskih nagrad. Mi smo edino mesto, ki smo zmagali na tednu mobilnosti 2-krat, tako da so nas letos prosili, prosim, ne kandidirati, še kakšno drugo mora dobiti. Mi smo dobili nagrado Gubijo za arheološke izkopanine na Kongresnem trgu, pri vsem hitrosti smo še tam spravili. Mi smo dobili najvišjo možno nagrado med 345 projekti iz 37 držav Evrope za preurejanje nabrežja Ljubljanice in za povrh vsega. Ne bom našteval, da smo dobili prvo nagrado v Londonu za urbano, ok, konkurenca ni bila bohe kaj, Deutsche Bahn in ostali, ampak najvišja možna nagrada kot krona vsega je zelena prestolnica Evrope 2016. Pa ko se vrnem nazaj, komisija je rekla, Ljubljana je naredila največ na kvaliteti življenja v najkrajšem času. Mi smo to začeli živeti leta 2007 v tisti programu Vizija Ljubljane 2025, ko nagrade še ni bilo. Veselil sem tega, da smo že takrat vedeli, kaj ne bo za Ljubljano, ko so zdaj potrdili. In dobrodošli, dragi mladi, bodite pogumni, bodite hrabri, priznajte tudi napake, priznajte nedoboljši, pa še več delajte. In ne pozabite, dan ste v najlepšem mestu na svetu. Srečno.
Hvala lepa, župan. Hvala lepa za vse vaše zgodbe in nasvete. In sedaj na oder vabim kuratorja Ljubljanskega huba, Mateja Pavliča.
Še en lepo zdrav, oziroma dober večer z moje strani. Lepo, da ste prišli. Še ena lepa zahvala gospodu županu Zoranu Jankoviću, da nas je danes obiskal, nagovoril. Janu, jaz sem samo postregel z nekaj čisto kratkimi podatki, da bolj nadaljujemo. In sicer pred 2 leti je Jan začel zgodbo, jaz sem jo lani prevzel, nekako peljal naprej, skupaj smo združili moči. 2 leti je kar težkega dela za nami, da smo danes, kjer smo, da smo to danes, bom rekel, spravili v pogon. Jaz sem zelo vesel, zelo sem ponosen na naših 10 plus šeperjev, ki sedijo v prvih vrstah danes. Upam, da boste res veliko dobrega naredili. Ko smo začeli planirati ta dogodek decembra 2014, je bilo na svetu v bistvu 4500 šeperjev, danes se je counter ustavil pri 4737, tako da se je kar v 2 mesecih povečal za lepo število šeperjev. Tudi 28 novih hubov je nastalo in mi smo 408 hub na svetu, ki je danes zaživel. Tako da jaz bi vas s tem pustil in še enkrat se bi vsem lepo zahvalil, še enkrat bi pozdravil šeperje in se tudi Marku Turrellu zahvalil, ki bo zdaj prevzel z svojo besedo naprej oder. Hvala lepa.
Hvala lepa, Matej. Tako izjemno ponosni in veseli smo, da je danes z nami častni gost Mark Turrell. Kot je že prej Jan povedal, bi se morala pridružiti tudi Vera Kobalja, bivša ministrica za gospodarstvo Gruzije, ali je žal zaradi vremenskih razmer ostala ujeta v Istanbulu. Mark Turrell pa je član World Economic Foruma in predstavnik divizije Young Global Leaders. Young Global Leaders so izbrani vsako leto glede na svoje strokovne dosežke in njihov prispevek k družbi. Mark Turrell je bil nominiran kot Technology Pioneer by the World Economic Forum in v letu 2010 postal Young Global Leader. Je tudi ustanovitelj podjetja Orkasaj, ki je razvilo edinstveno garnituro, ki temelji na vedenjski znanosti in mreženju. Zelo zanimivo ga bo poslušati, zato ga vabim na oder. Welcome to the stage, Mark Turrell. The stage is yours. Welcome to Slovenia also. Welcome.
3 times.
3 times?
For the Balkans.
Okay. For the Balkans 3 times. Great.
Einstein used to teach undergraduate physics at Princeton University. And eventually, should be with
Tom, there we are. Hello. Eventually, his second-year students would be in front of them. They'll be in the examination hall. And his second-year students would get a shock, because in front of them would be last year's examination papers. Eventually, one brave student would put up their hand and say, Professor Einstein, you've made a mistake. You've given us last year's questions. Einstein would merely smile and say, well, whilst it is true that I've given you last year's questions, this year, the answers are all different. What I've been fascinated about is that the world is clearly changing. You have Sweden has been producing technology companies of $1 billion in value every single year for the last decade. You have a tiny little country like Estonia create a giant company like Skype seemingly out of nowhere. What is clear today is that we live in a technology world, a society world, where everything seems to be changing extremely rapidly, and some things are scaling much faster than we possibly imagined. Thank you very much for inviting me, and what I'd like to share with you here today is pretty much how to scale things. This works. Gadget challenged. There we go. I'm going to start off with a personal story. I decided that I exist to change the entire world for better, all of it at the same time. Ideally, without anybody knowing that it's me. Makes it harder. This is very typical of young global leaders, and you will soon find out this is also the attitude you'll find of your global shapers here in Ljubljana as well. So, big dreams, but it's very important to execute. So I came up with a way of changing the world at scale, and I needed to have a pilot project. Do a test. It's always good and important to do a test. In Zimbabwe in 2008, an election was fought. And Robert Mugabe, the dictator who had been running that country for 35 years, lost a stolen election by 50.4%. That was me and my buddy Arthur, who became the Deputy Prime Minister of Zimbabwe. Now, I was at the World Economic Forum at Davos. I'd only had 2 hours of sleep. I like to go out and go party and have fun. Good way of relaxing. I met this guy on a shuttle bus ride at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I shared with him my dream, my vision of changing the world, and that I had a plan. He said, well, okay, I'm so desperate, I need some help. Up to that time, I'd spoken to 150 people, and all of them had thought that I was bonkers. But he listened because he was desperate. So he shared his problem. He was fighting an election in 5 weeks' time. He knew that they would win the election, the opposition would genuinely win, but they knew it was going to get stolen. But the constraints were, there's 5 weeks to go, there is zero budget, and he cannot tell anybody what he was doing, including Morgan Tsvangirai, the leader of his own party. You get killed for this stuff. So could I come up with a plan to defeat a dictator in a corrupt election? Well, I knew nothing about Zimbabwe whatsoever. I knew nothing about elections. I kind of know nothing about nothing. But I have a set of methods, a set of sciences to look at how do you get the power of the masses to go do stuff. I asked him a small number of questions, and the easiest way to cheat an election is to buy off the election officials. Classic. But it actually meant that because the sort of bad guys knew what the election results were going to be, everybody voted honestly. And over 9,000 polling stations, millions of people voted honestly, and the vote was honestly counted, just as we see here, and posted on the front door of the polling stations for about an hour. So my idea was to use the power of the masses, to use a network of people to, you can kind of guess, crowdsource the election. We managed to find 1,000 people who already had camera phones to take pictures of their local election results. Even the spies, the bad guys, did it because they didn't want to be found out. Now this means that 1,000 people get an instruction, do you have a camera phone? Please wait instructions. They then are told, take a picture that looks like this. This is a real picture from them. These pictures went to a website in South Africa where 10 students turned the pictures into a big spreadsheet. And within just a few hours, we'd counted over a third of the total possible votes in Zimbabwe without anybody knowing what was happening for zero budget, and we could prove to the world that Mugabe had lost the election. And that changed the outcome of a country. And it took 45 minutes of planning and 10 hours of execution, the first time in the history of mankind that was done. Good, bad? Okay. This, for me, is scaling. Individuals can change the world, have changed the world. Now, what's interesting is that I breathe exactly the same air as you do. I drink the same lovely wine as you do. So there's no difference for me as being a human being from you guys. The thing is, though, that I've got a set of tools, a set of methods that allow me to see the world differently. And what I can do is I can share those tools and methods. Now, when I look at scaling things, it's very interesting. I mean, if you're an entrepreneur or even if you're a country looking at economic development, it's one thing about having ideas, like a seed of an idea. And ideas are interesting. But what's interesting is that when they scale, when they grow, because it's when these things grow at very, very large sort of amounts that you actually get true difference in economic wealth, alleviation of poverty. So what I'm looking at is not the creation of little ideas. They're everywhere. What I'm looking at is that how do you take the good ones and make these things scale? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you a couple of stories, a couple of case studies about how scaling was used in a systematic way. And when I say scaling, because the words can very often mean different things to different people, I like to narrow it down. Because for me, what I'm looking at for scaling is outsized results. So results that are much, much bigger than the straight linear application of resources. So much, much outsized results. But what I'm trying to do this is with small, smart moves. Small, little tiny things. I mean, what happened in Zimbabwe was almost nothing. And yet it changed the outcome of 13 million people's lives. So we're looking at small, smart moves, done with design, done with planning, done with thought. And then, let's be realistic, sometimes you kind of get lucky. You can also make your own luck. But clearly we can find out with scaling that we are aided by good fortune. Now a story, and this country was affected by this, is the fall of the Berlin Wall. So I live in Berlin, and obviously this story is very meaningful to me. But the Berlin Wall is a fascinating story because the wall came down in 24 hours and nobody knew what the hell was going on. The story of the Berlin Wall, it starts in November of '88 when Poland had a series of strikes with Solidarity. Now, pretty much to alleviate the stress in Poland, they decided to have elections and Solidarity was allowed to compete in the elections. Solidarity easily won 90% of the vote when it was a fair vote. Because of that, Hungary decided, if the tanks aren't going to come in from Russia, we don't care, we're going to open up our borders. So now all of a sudden, for the East Germans, if you could get to Hungary, you could escape and become a refugee. The thing is that the only way to get to Hungary was by having a passport and a visa, and that was basically impossible. So there was a series of monthly, weekly candlelit marches in Leipzig. 200 people, 500 people, 1,000 people. It was growing. It was like a heartbeat in the system, this weekly rhythm. There was the annual anniversary, the 40th anniversary of the GDR. Gorbachev was there. He'd already had perestroika and glasnost, so a sort of more spirit of openness. A group of students made a little protest to say, Gorbachev, no tanks, please. On the 5th of November, just before the wall comes down, a group of actors from the Berliner Ensemble arrange a protest in Alexanderplatz. 250,000 people turned up. And yet there's not a single sign that says bring down the wall. Not a single sign says we want reunification. All they wanted was freedom of movement and freedom of speech. On the morning of November the 9th, now the wall goes down at 11 o'clock at night, but on the morning of November the 9th, 4 junior officers from the Stasi, the police, the military, are told that they have to have a meeting to work out how travel can be rearranged. Now, it was decided that anybody that wanted to be a refugee could leave immediately. The guy from the army said, well, what if you just want to go and visit your parents or do some shopping? Fine, stick it on the list, because after all, they were just making draft recommendations. It was going to be reviewed by the Politburo at 7 p.m. at night, draft recommendations. This was handed over to Egon Kranz, who was the temporary head of state. Egon Kranz did not hand it over to the new head of state. Egon Kranz did not tell anybody that it was a draft. Egon Kranz just handed this piece of paper, typewritten now, over to a guy called Gunter Schabowski, who was the press secretary for the Communist Party. They had a press conference at 6 p.m. at night. For the first 53 minutes of the press conference, they didn't even mention travel. At 6:53, an Italian journalist, closely followed by a German journalist, saying, are you making any changes to travel? And he reads out his piece of paper. Yes, you can travel and leave if you want to. When can people travel? Immediately. Now he said this in knowledge that nobody in East Germany was going to hear this thing until tomorrow, because it was not broadcast live in East Germany, And it was pretty much, we're going to control the news cycle, 4 a.m. in the morning, it'll go out of embargo. We have enough time to tell the border guards, because at the moment we haven't told them anything. However, it was the first broadcast live to the West. Now this means that at 5 minutes past 7, Associated Press put a headline out. East German borders now open, East Germans free to travel. It's not true. But right now, it's now the news, and this begins to spread across the entire airways. At about 7:15, there's a guy called Harald Jaeger. He's a lieutenant colonel in the border control, and he's watching West German news illegally. And he thinks, holy crap, nobody's told us about this. And he runs down to his border checkpoint where already people are standing there with their passports waiting to go through. He calls up his superior. Now, nobody knows what the hell's going on. This is completely, nobody knows anything. So they then work out, okay, if people are going to shout really loudly, we'll let them go through. Okay, we kind of know what's going to happen next, don't we? If you shout really loudly, you can escape. So people get louder and louder and louder. Well, eventually what happens is that the East German authorities decide at about 10:30 that they're going to close it down. They're going to say, look, you've made a misunderstanding, you'll have to wait in line, blah, 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 blah. The thing is that when they did their broadcast across East Germany at 10:30, the West German press were covering live people going through the wall. Well, now people knew that what they were being told by these Germans wasn't true. So within another hour, there are about 1 million people on the streets of East Berlin. Harald Jaeger, as a single individual, decides that it's a dangerous situation, people might get the guns, and so he personally decides to open the wall. Within a matter of hours, pretty much you end with the end of communism. The end of the wall, what's his name? Helmut Kohl had been sitting in Warsaw at 7:15, saw a historic opportunity, and he and Gorbachev agreed no tanks. And without a single shot being fired, with almost nothing happening, we ended up scaling a change that affected hundreds of millions of people, including this country here. Now, that wasn't me. And in fact, the next story that I give, I'm definitely not going to cry out. The most successful book of all human history, the fastest book to sell 100 million copies. Who's got an idea of what it is? Bible? Anybody else? Not the Bible? 50 Shades. 50 Shades of Grey is the fastest selling book of all human history. And it's a terrible book, isn't it? It's terrible. This book sold 100 million copies in 2 years. It's a $1 billion business out of nothing. It was done on purpose. And as I share this with you, and this should show how to scale things, she'd never written anything before. You can kind of tell that. She started writing what was called fan fiction. So there was a platform of Twilight. The people have read Twilight, kind of even admit to it. So she decided to write an alternate universe version of Twilight. So right now, this meant that it was like, basically, it's an office, if you haven't read it, it's an office romance with whips and chains. I'm sure this happens in Ljubljana all the time. So like the office dungeon, that kind of thing. So right now then, when she was writing, she discovered the internet and she discovered fan fiction websites. So she published her novel for free, but she hadn't finished writing it. So she began to publish 1 chapter every single week. Creates very compelling content, but it meant that her readers, it began to be like a little bit like crack. Like, you got to read the next chapter, the next chapter, the next chapter. She used the power of the crowd, harnessing the crowd. She got 37,000 reviewing comments of her book as she was writing it to correct basic inaccuracies. But she was also able to use, like, pretty much, I mean, she lives in England. She's writing about a couple in America. So American readers would correct some of her mistakes. The crowd gave her the name of the book. In chapter 16, now I personally have only read to chapter 12 because it's not readable. But in chapter 16, there's a moment when Anna wants to stroke her new lover, and he says, "Don't touch me because I'm 50 shades of fucked up." Well, the crowds loved it, so this became the title. It switched from Master of the Universe to 50 Shades. She'd never made any money out of this, but there was a moment when 3 mothers decided to raise money for a children's cancer charity by writing outtake chapters of popular fan fiction authors. Her chapter raised $30,000 in a couple of weeks. Well, now she's got 110 chapters, and she realizes, I can make some money out of this. So she does a deal with an independent publisher called the Writers Cafe out of Australia, and now it goes on to Kindle, and it goes on to paperback. Now she's already able to capture the wave of ebooks. This is a big thing, catching the wave. It turns out that half of the sales of 50 Shades of Grey are on ebooks. So you can look at the CNN website, you can look at the BBC, do your email, and hardcore pornography. Switch. These are the jokes, you can laugh. Now what's interesting then is that she then, she managed to get connected to a hub. So there's a website called Divalicious Moms, which is like Desperate Housewives. And this woman from Divalicious Moms liked the book and invited her to Manhattan. Well then, she pretty much did a presentation in a loft in Manhattan to 200 socialites of Manhattan. Copies of a book were sold at $700 afterwards. I've got copies of my book, happy to take $700, or even half the amount. But this meant that she got into the whole milieu of publishing. So within a couple of weeks, she got a $7 million, like a multi-million-dollar deal with Random House. Because it was Random House publishing it, not herself and the Writers Cafe, this meant that the New York Times could cover it. So in the beginning of March, New York Times publishes, we're going to do 50 Shades of Grey. This is the book that everybody's talking about. It then got onto Saturday Night Live, public, captured the public imagination. The book sold 36 million copies in 3 months. And then, as we sadly know, 100 million copies. How many will admit to seeing the movie? Nobody? Somebody put their hand up twice. They thought it was opposite. But this is an example of scaling. You take a small little thing and you do a series. She did about 16 things in order. So what I'd like to talk about is just like a little bit of the framework for how this thing works. So to look at this world in this sort of strange way, there's a concept called emergence. And I'll go through this, I'll do it sort of very simply. This room here is an emergent system. So right now what's fascinating is we have a whole bunch of people here, and yet none of you are given instructions of what to do, and yet you're all doing basically exactly the same thing. Weird as hell. Well, it turns out that we're in what's called a complex system. And this means that we're giving off signals, picking up other people's signals. We have what's called a state memory, so we know what we were doing a second ago. And there's a progression over time. So if I do a little test, I smile, you smile. So now what it means, big, huge smile. But now what it means then is that anybody can change the system, and that can propagate across everything. Now also, we're in this complex system together. Right now, this building is complex, our bodies are complex. Now what it actually means is that you can have a change in any one part of any one system, could change everything. But what's really weird is that it doesn't. The reason why things like these small things don't change everywhere is because we have a set of rules. The set of rules that we have pretty much allow us to process sort of information. A lot of our rules are based on energy conservation, and that's because to exist, it takes energy. To change a state also takes energy. So we have rules like follow your peers. Find people like you and copy them. Keep doing what you are doing until there is a compelling reason to change. I will happily still be talking here until tomorrow until I get pulled off, just to warn you. The last time I was here in Ljubljana, I think the talk was 2.5 hours. We talked about sex and relationships, but we won't go into that area. If in doubt, go for the one you know. These are very simple rules that pretty much guide human behavior. Well, now what happens is that it's very interesting that when you see about how things spread. Now, one way of looking at this, this is like one of the revelations that I had as I was doing this work, is based on donkeys. Donkeys, you have them here? So, what's interesting when you look at donkeys is that we have this belief, and it's a sort of behavioral science belief, that people do things because of either the carrot or the stick, the promise of reward or the threat of punishment. But what's very interesting that there's something much more powerful than the carrot or the stick that gets donkeys to do things. Any ideas? Other donkeys. So now I live in Berlin, and outside of Berlin, there's a farm with wild horses and donkeys. And so I've done this before. So there are 10 donkeys sitting way over in the field, and I've got a bucket of carrots, and I'm throwing the carrots out, shouting, screaming. Turns out the donkeys do not speak German or English. Who was to know? And they've also got terribly bad eyesight, so they have no idea what's being thrown. Eventually, one donkey pricks up his ears, and he sees basically a contrast, a difference. Something weird is happening. And then maybe it's so curious, the first donkey decides to move over to go look. It doesn't know what, it just goes off to go look. The next 4 donkeys think, what the hell's going on? Where are you going? And the next 4 donkeys start following the first donkey. The next 4 donkeys think, holy crap, everybody's going. And they also start following. They don't know why. And then there's one donkey that's been chewing away, minding its own business. They look up, fuck, I'm alone. And oh, there they are. So without knowing, all the donkeys have now moved over there. This is very interesting. Because if we actually look at scaling behavior, look at the fall of the Berlin Wall, look at the sales of 50 Shades of Grey. Why did people do things? Was it great rational thought? People follow, and they follow anything. This is fascinating when you're looking at scaling stuff, because you can create these following dynamics that get people to move at scale, and this is a property of emergence. Now I can then accelerate this with what's called networks. Networks are pretty much these structures that you have so that instead of just sharing information with one person, if that one person is in a network, they can share it with everybody. Now let me give you the example of Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe, we got 1,000 people with camera phones, and it took only 30 minutes to find them. Only 30 minutes. How on earth would that work? Well, it turns out that as I was sharing with this Zimbabwean guy, and remember, I knew nothing about anything, I then said, people exist in networks. Can we find a network that we can hijack, that we can hack into? Well, the opposition party had 15,000 supporters, most of whom had mobile phones. So all he had to do was send out one message to 15,000 people through their normal system to say, do you have a camera phone? I can't tell you what it is because you could be a spy, and are you willing to help? And within 30 minutes, 1,000 people had said yes. This is the power of networks. The same thing for the global shapers here. These global shapers are part of a network with 400 other cities in almost similar rooms and similar situations to you. So if these people need to get anything done, whether it's in Azerbaijan or in Boston or Austin, it's pretty much within the network you can find these people almost instantly and get people to go do stuff. Extremely powerful ways of scaling. Now, the last thing that I'll describe is something called waves. Because now it turns out, so now actually, if you look in this room, so we've already said that we follow other people and we keep doing what we're doing until there's a compelling reason to change. What happens when we came in is that we weren't sure where to sit down, where shall I go, so there was a lot of bubbly little energy that's sitting in there. The thing is that now you're all stable. And in a stable state, there is an excess amount of energy. Some of you can't wait to go dancing or drinking or whatever it is, I don't know. But so right now there's a surplus of energy. Well, what you have then is that the ability to harness that energy, to focus it and concentrate it on stuff. Now I do a lot of my conceptual work in nightclubs. I find it very, very sort of illuminating and revealing. I can ignore everybody and I can just focus on inventing things. I was in a nightclub called Dragon Eye in Hong Kong a few years back, and I have a moment like a Beautiful Mind moment. I don't know, how many of you have seen the movie Beautiful Mind? So the guy's doing the stuff and he's got equations for game theory. So I did that. It was just in a nightclub, so there's more people there. And what I realized is that this nightclub that I was looking at was a network. And I saw people moving around. I saw an energy source. There was one table that was magnetic that everybody was watching. It turns out on Wednesday nights, if ever you're in Hong Kong, models go free at Dragon Eye. So the table where all the models were sitting was the one that everybody was looking at. But the thing that I found in terms of waves is that right now I'd only been looking at the network of the people and the connections between the people. And then all of a sudden, the DJ played a different song. And everybody, at the same time, danced completely differently. Sound waves. While we look at the world as being the static thing of the connections, it turns out that there are other things that are passing through. And so if we look at, for example, 50 Shades of Grey, 50 Shades of Grey caught the wave of ebooks. So she was able to hijack a wave that already existed. Some people can unleash a wave. So if you like, what happened in the Berlin Wall is that when that Associated Press release came out, East Germans now free to travel, that unleashed a wave that had been sitting there for ages, that trapped energy suddenly had a way of getting released. So these are then ways of doing this. Now, what I've done then is that I've tried to look at then how do we translate these theories, this more sort of conceptual world, into what I call scaling frames. These are sort of relatively simple ways of looking at your business, looking at your societal problems, your way that you want to change and scale. So you can translate these things into actionable, usable tools. So the scaling frames. Now this is just a bit of an eye chart, but I just wanted to then sort of highlight how some of these things work. Because what you have is you have that principle of emergence, and you remember crowd power from 50 Shades of Grey. She was able to harness the value of the crowd to get her title for a terrible book worked out. You have things like network effects. So right now, how do you get 1,000 people with camera phones? Easy, you just tap into a network. So what I've managed to find is that there are these very, very simple ways of translating these new theories, these new ways of looking at the world, to pretty much then create, with deliberation, activities that can scale. Because after all, the fall of the Berlin Wall, that happened entirely by accident. There was no planning, there was no design that made that happen. And yet 50 Shades of Grey, good book, bad book, let's just focus on the money, that pretty much created $1 billion business out of nothing in 2 years, and it was basically done on purpose. So with that, I'd like to say, we've got some time for questions? A few minutes for questions, but I'd like to say thank you very much, and then hopefully time for questions, but thank you, Reddy. Thank you. Questions? Does anybody have any questions? Don't be shy, you're a bright, smart group. What's that? Talk in person. That's
This is Slovenia. Usually we don't have questions,
very
but
quiet.
when we will finish, you will have a ton of questions,
think
I
so too.
guarantee you.
I'm going to be here until Saturday, so
So
absolutely.
great. Thank you very much for your very interesting lecture and all your stories. So
Brilliant.
thank
you very much.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you. So Global Shapers Community bo v Ljubljano in v Slovenijo zagotovo vnesla svež val odgovornosti do lokalnega okolja in spodbudila mlade, da se pridružijo oblikovanju jutrišnjega sveta za vse nas. Iniciativa izhaja iz dejstva, da je 50% svetovnega prebivalstva mlajšega od 27 let. Torej potrebno rešitve za izzive iskati pri mladih, tako na lokalni, regionalni, nacionalni kot tudi globalni ravni. In za zaključek večera bi na oder povabila predstavnike ljubljanskega huba. Prosim, če se mi pridružijo Ajda Marič, pa en aplavz, prosim. Vesna Pevec, Jakob Lozej, Slavko Žitnik, Nika Koračin, Domen Kutoša, Nastja Brek, Petra Jelšovec, Nejc Slovnik, Miha Rihar in Luka Snoj. Tako to so mladi predstavniki ljubljanskega huba, ki že pripravljajo svoj prvi projekt z naslovom Spremeni pogled, spremeni svet. In Ajda Marič nam bo predstavila izhodišča in cilje tega projekta. Ajda, izvolite.
Spomnite se trenutka, ko ste se najbolj ustrašili v vašem življenju. Kako ste se takrat počutili? Nekako tako se počuti oseba, ki doživi panični napad, vendar da ne ve, zakaj se to dogaja in da so ti občutki veliko bolj intenzivni. Duševne motnje prizadenejo približno 1/4 Evropejcev vsako leto. Ravno zaradi tega smo se v Global Shapers Ljubljana Hub odločili, da pozornost namenimo predvsem duševnemu zdravju in stresu, ki vpliva na kvaliteto našega življenja. S projektom Spremeni pogled, spremeni svet želimo opozoriti in hkrati izobraziti mlade do 31. leta starosti, kje iskati tiste vire moči, da bodo kos vsem izzivom, ki so jim naproti. Namreč kar med 70 do 80% vseh obiskov bolnikov pri zdravniku je povezane zaradi bolezni v povezavi s stresom. Pod mentorstvom dr. Klemna Rebolja pripravljamo izobraževanja, ki predstavljajo korak prav v to smer. V okviru projekta bomo pripravili sklope delavnic, preko katerih bomo mlade naučili, kako se spopadati z izzivi sodobnega življenja. Osredotočili se bomo na področja, ki jih stroka in mladi prepoznavajo kot najbolj pereča. Seveda imamo poleg tega projekta v mislih še dva, vendar je malce prezgodaj, da vam jih razkrijem. Pri soočanju z izzivi v življenju nam lahko pomaga tudi smeh, ki namreč v našem telesu spodbudi hormon sreče in tako olajša stresne situacije. Torej, vprašanje za vas je, ali ste se danes že pošteno nasmejali? Hvala.
Hvala lepa, Ajda, hvala lepa vsem mladim predstavnikom Ljubljanskega huba. Želimo vam veliko uspehov in spreminjanja sveta na bolje in spopadanja s to novodobno boleznijo, stresom, predvsem pri mladih, kjer se je zelo prezgodaj začelo vse skupaj odvijati. Tako da čestitke za vašo otvoritev in veliko sreče naprej. Hvala lepa tudi vsem vam, da ste bili danes z nami. Uradni del nocojšnjega večera se zaključuje, kar ne pomeni, da je konec. Druženje se šele pričenja, networking in vse ostalo. Tako da vas vabim v spodnje nadstropje, v vrtno dvorano na pogostitev v prijetni družbi. Hvala lepa.